to reflect on SD 42.16, Chapter 16 of Sutta Discovery, Volume 42. That is the Roga Sutta, the discourse on the two kinds of diseases. This is found in the Pali Canon, the Pali Tipitaka, as A4.157. The Book of Fours, Sutta number 157. This is very short and very important sutta, where the Buddha tells us about the nature of disease or illness of two kinds, physical and mental. Let us go straight into the sutta, then we may comment as we go along. The translation is on page 89. The discourse on the two kinds of diseases, A4157. Bhikshus, there are these two kinds of diseases or illnesses. What are the two? Disease of the body and disease of the mind. Bhikshus, there are to be seen beings who can claim to be physically healthy or disease-free of body for a year, who can claim to be physically healthy for 2 years, and then it goes on like 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, or even 100 years. But bhikshus, not easy it is to find those beings in this world who can claim to be mentally healthy for even a moment, except for those arhats whose mental influxes are destroyed. Right, so in other words, here the Buddha says, we can claim to be free from disease, or body free from sickness for many years. But where the mind is concerned, it's more tricky. We may appear to be calm, peaceful, even happy, but we are still, in some way, troubled by greed, hate, and delusion. It is still there underlying us as latent tendencies. So, here, the reflection, in other words, we should not be too carried away by our health, right? So this is one of the intoxications, health, right? Number 3. The first intoxication is, of course, with life, and then with health. And the first one is with, this have to do with the three, what I call the 3 Ds, decay, disease, death. In other words, we get intoxicated with health, with life, and the idea that we can be happy all the time. So here the particular focus is on health, right? So of course we should work hard, be diligent in being healthy, but somehow there are occasions when even when we try our very best, we may fall sick at the most undesirable time, the most unexpected time. In other words, whether we are sick or we are healthy, we should be mindful and know what to do about it, in other words. For example, when we are healthy, yes, we can do a lot of work, we can help others. But when we are not so healthy, when we are sick, we've got to take care of ourselves. At the same time, we've got to be more mindful, in other words. So even when we are sick, our mind is calm. Our body may be sick, but our mind is not sick, as the Buddha taught Nakulapita. Yeah? So this is the first part. Now, in the second part, the Buddha talks about the diseases, the diseases of a renunciant. Right? In the first part, you can say it's generally speaking about can be renunciants as well as worldly people. So the second part goes like this. Bhikshus, there are these 4 diseases or renunciations. What are the 4? Here, bhikshus, a monk has great desire, distress, and discontent with any kind of robe, alms food, lodging, or support for the sick and medical supply. Right, so monks are supported by the 4 supports, pachaya, jatu pachaya, that is alms food, robes, shelter, and health support or medication. So here, a monk who has, or a renunciant, generally speaking, who has great desire, will also have distress or discontent or disappointment when they have high expectations, or when they want things which are not easy to get, and so on. In other words, as long as they have this drive to look for things, they will have this discontent. So being a monk is not easy at all. They're supposed to just accept things as they come, in other words. And there are occasions when, if they live in the forest, for example, they may not get any medications at all. So that's why the Buddha, in the early years of the ministry, taught the monks to be as self-supporting as possible. That they for example, they use the stale urine of cows as medicine. But of course, they are allowed to use medicine where available, where people give them or take care of them. In other words, they basically should be self-sufficient. They should not be too troubled by such things, so that they can focus on their spiritual training. Now, the sutta goes on. Okay, that's the first disease of a monk or renunciant. They are so caught up with wanting this support, that support, in terms of the 4 physical supports. Number 2, on account of his great desire, distress, and discontent with any kind of robe, alms food, lodging, or support for the sick and medicinal supply, he has bad wishes, desire for gaining recognition, for gaining wealth, honor, and praise. Right? Wealth, honor, praise. That is a phrase where the Buddha declares this. It's a very risky thing for monks to have. Monks should never seek wealth, honor, or praise, because if they do, they're going to put themselves in a lot of difficulties. The phrase here is labha sakara siloka. Labha sakara siloka. That's one sutta even dealing with this. If we become monks and this is what we seek, then it's just the opposite to the spirit of renunciation, in other words. When we become monks or monastics, we renounce wealth, we renounce gains, we renounce honor, we renounce praises, in other words. But here the Buddha is warning those monks who are lost. And notice, nothing could be more vital and clearer where the suttas are concerned, because today we are forgetting the suttas, we are so-called modernizing the suttas, we're changing things, we are listening more to worldly talks than to actual Dhamma-based advice and instructions. So these dangers are more real to us. Buddhism becomes diluted, becomes false, distorted. Disease number 3 of the monastic. He rouses, strives, exerts himself in gaining recognition and gaining wealth, honor, and praises. So notice the sequence. First, he has a lot of desires. He's not happy with the 4 supports he gets, the robe, the food, shelter, and medicine. And number 2, he has all kinds of wishes for gaining wealth and support and recognition. And then 3, he goes on to exert himself to gain these things. Now number 4 is rather humorous, but there's a serious tone to it. In other words, something which is foolish can also be funny, because it is not something which monks are meant to do, something which monastics are supposed to do. With cunning, he approaches families. With cunning, he sits down. With cunning, he teaches the Dharma. With cunning, he holds back his excreting and urinating. Right? So in other words, he pretends to be caring or industrial to impress the public, impress the supporters, impress others, so that he gets the worldly support that he's looking for. Bhikshus, these are the 4 diseases of the renunciants. Therefore, bhikshus, you should train yourself. This comes the good part, right? So the Buddha is telling the monks, we will not have a great desire, distress, or discontent with any kind of robe, alms, food, lodging, or support for the sick and medicinal supply. Right? In other words, again, you find the suttas reminding monastics to be contented with all the 4 supports that they get or don't get. Nor will we harbor bad wishes, desires for gaining recognition and gaining wealth, honor, and praises. Nor will we rouse, strive, exert ourselves in gaining recognition and gaining wealth, honor, and praises. We will endure the touch of cold, heat, hunger, thirst, gadflies, mosquitoes, wind, sun, and creeping things. We will endure abusive and offensive manners of speech. We shall patiently endure painful feelings that arise in our bodies, sharp, piercing, racking, unpleasant, disagreeable, taxing on our breaths, or sapping our life itself. Thus bhikshus, should you train yourself. So here the monks are, in other words, reminded to be tough, to be patient with themselves, to be forbearing, not to be caught up with the world, wanting this and that, and so on. So how does this apply to us as lay people? As lay people, we do depend on some kind of support which we work with, and of course we do have choices, unlike monastics. If we work hard, then we have a lot of wealth or enough wealth to buy whatever we need, whatever we like even. So we not only have the ability to get what we need, but we also can get what we want. In other words, we can go beyond the basic needs of life, right? And what are the basic needs of life for lay people? We do the same thing, the 4 supports. We need food, we need clothing, we need shelter, and we need health. So here is where, as practicing Buddhists or any ordinary human being, we should make sure that we have these 4 things available in good measure, meaning these 4 supports will maintain our health so that we can, a healthy body can help cultivate a healthy mind. And that way we can do good works, be happy, and make other people happy too. So as a Buddhist, in other words, if we do have surplus wealth, more than what we need, we should share this with others, make other people happy also, and that's the beginning of spiritual friendship, of Dhamma work even. So there's a bit more leeway for lay people, a bit more laxity, latitude where wealth is concerned. But even then, in other words, we should wisely understand the purpose of worldly wealth. They are there to support us because we have a physical body and we live in society. But the real task for a practicing Buddhist is to make sure our minds are peaceful, and to an important extent we are creative enough to teach the Dhamma, because you have to understand the Dhamma first. You have to have good health, a clear mind to understand the suttas and the Dhamma, and you have good health, keenness of mind, and wisdom, compassion, your wits so that you can bring the suttas to others to help them, and patience and compassion to talk to people when they have difficulties, and help them to be self-reliant. So there's a lot of things to be done there. Actually, those duties of good works are very similar to what the monks also do. In a way, lay people have more latitude, they have more tools to work with to help others. They can go to any place, in fact, to help all kinds of people. But monks have their rules and their limitations, so generally we have to go to the monastics for help rather than getting them to come over to visit us. Although they can do that, like Buddha in his own time would go out of his way to help others. So both monastic and lay people have to know the suttas well, so that we know how to help others, help themselves in a Dhamma-based way. In simple terms, we have to be happy first. And when we are happy, we make others happy. And when we see others happy, we in turn increase our own happiness. And when we are happy, we tend less to be sick, our minds are more clear, we can meditate better, and so on. So in simple terms, this is what the sutta is about. And there's a long introduction here. We invite you to read the introduction for yourself so that you have a better idea of what the ramification of the teachings are. Okay, so that's our first sutta.